Happened in the 90's.
Would you like to find the love you deserve? Is success in your future? Now you can find the answers and connect with someone so gifted, you'll feel good just talking with them. Call the live one-on-one Psychic Connection for your private reading anytime.
Call toll-free 1-800-972-6655.
Don't face your future alone. Call now.
Man, so, dude, Matt, I'm watching Golden Girls, and halfway through the episode, I'm hard.
Oh man, whoa, hot take.
Man, like this whole time I've been wanting to fuck Blanche.
It wasn't. I was gonna say I'm thinking immediately Blanche. It wasn't Rose or even Betty White. Was that Rose?
Yeah, nah, man. It's something about that Southern accent, man. Yeah,
Rose.
Yeah, keep talking that plantation shit, bitch.
Dude, you could have. I mean, honestly, if you would have showed up at the retirement community back in the day, I'm sure she would have accepted some D. She seemed pretty open.
He's a nice strapping man.
Dude, that show was so wild. There was one episode where they got robbed, I think, and I think Betty White got a gat at some point.
Yeah, dude, I just posted that. I was just watching that episode last week, man, and like their house got broken into. So like they were talking about, oh yeah, we should get this or that mace. And Rose is like, I don't need mace. I just got a gun.
You shot my vase.
I don't need mace. I got a gun. It's like, yes, Rose is with the shits.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Rose got a gun. What is the old woman's name? I'm sorry. Sophia. Sophia's got 5 guns. She's got 5. Hey. She's got some coke in the bag. She's got it all.
Hey. Don't stop or my mom will shoot, man.
Nobody hurts my baby.
Can somebody appreciate that movie? It was a good movie. Well, it was funny. It was fun.
I appreciate Estelle Getty. I appreciate Sylvester Stallone. It's one of those things where like too much of a good thing takes away from the thing.
Yeah. Them together, them separate, I love it. Them together, it's almost like, when you dump too much sugar in a coffee or something. It's like, this is good, but this is a lot. My teeth hurt.
It's a lot.
Yeah, that was a good one. Great. See, that was a 90s thing. It was another 90s trope.
Yes, sir.
A cop movie where it was like, what was that other one? Cop and a Half, Burt Reynolds and the little black kid.
I remember that.
There was always some wacky like that, Turner and Hooch. Which is a very sad movie. Let's not get too deep into that. But
that was the Tom Hanks one, right?
Yeah, Tom Hanks and that dog.
And it was like one of those drooling dogs. Was it a Saint Bernard? No, it wasn't a Saint Bernard.
No, I forget. It was like I don't know. I don't know dog breeds anyway. But yeah, it was a lot of drool, but a lot of heartbreak at the end. There was like an Old Yeller moment at the end of that movie, I think.
Man, I remember watching it as a kid, man, and it's been a while.
Yeah,
but
I'm not watching Turner and Hooch anytime soon.
That was Tom Hanks in his Josh Baskin era. He still kind of had the curly. He kind of had a Clark Kentish kind of. He had one of those deals. It was curly and
he looked like a stand-up comedian. He was all like him in the Burbs. Big,
it's from that same era. Yeah, that.
Salute to the Burbs too. If you haven't watched that, like a lot of younger people who are listening to this, watch the Burbs. Yeah. That movie is fucking funny, and it has Felddog in it. Corey Feldman's in that.
That might be my favorite era of Tom Hanks. Is pre Philadelphia, pre Forrest Gump and Green Mile. Like this is when he was like still more involved in comedy kind of deals, man. or
I mean,
comedic.
I like a dramatic Tom Hanks. I think we all do, but I do love a nice old school big Tom Hanks, just a wacky Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
The Burbs, the Money Pit, that
Joe versus the volcano.
Yeah. So, you know, we love come back, Tom. Do a wacky movie. Why do you always have to be a general in World War One? You know? Why?
Oh, like that a lot. Man, dude, so Peacock's taking forever to roll out this whole catalog, man. They're doing it piece by piece. And I know when everything is said and done, it's going to be so heavily edited and crappy and just why even fucking have it? So I was
about
on
WWE.
Yes, dude. I missed the WWE network, brother. And I've been watching Nitro, WCW Nitro, and I started in 95. Like I started from the beginning. And right now, like, you know, I was at the beginning of the NWO.
Oh, that's my favorite, Steve.
This is the best, man. Dude. This is when they were recruiting motherfuckers. Yes. And it was like, hell yeah, man. And it was like the old school version, like the WCW versus NWO, and like Ric Flair was a part of the WCW crew. Dude, one of the promos that he shot was so fucking player. This motherfucker said, Babe Ruth, Hulk Hogan, and Michael Jordan. Put all of their playing time together, baby. Still couldn't add up to the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. I was just like, man, it just like, he said it so like, it was so flowing, and it was so, he said, baby, like black chicks say that shit now, baby. Like he said that shit in the 90s, dude, man.
Starting shit, dude. Why? You know the Nature Boy starts trends decades in advance, dude.
Dude, who produced more drip for hip hop, Ric Flair or The Rock?
Dude, Ric Flair all day long. Ric Flair's produced more. Like he's beyond even just producing for wrestling and hip hop. Like he's now just like an icon. He's reached like that Chuck Norris level of status. He's not even what he was, you know. He's just like he's a meme now.
He's known for being known at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And so I mean, he deserves it. Also, I just wish, this is just a wish I'll never have fulfilled, Steve, but I always just secretly wanted to just take one chest shot from Ric Flair. Just one. Just take a chest slap.
Woo!
Yeah. Just give me one.
Hogan! Oh, dude, hold up. I forgot why we're talking about the man. Hold on. Dude, I went
Is he here right now?
Oh, not yet. Ricky's on his way, baby. But I went to GameStop and look at this, Holmes. This
is shit.
Yeah, man. I have the rest of my collection in Ohio. I'm going to send for it later in life. But like this is the special edition 1992 Royal Rumble, where he was one of the first contestants. He was either first or second, and he won it. And the title was vacant at the time. They stripped it from Hogan, and whoever won the Royal Rumble that year was the champ, man. And the Nate, man, this is an iconic night. They call this one of the best performances in Royal Rumble history, man. So yeah,
I mean, his promos, he was up there, dude. I feel like he could have just been a stand-up comedian if he wasn't a wrestler. Like he just had some sort of wild personality. I used to hate him as a kid, like, because he was always just sort of the cocky villain, and I always just like Hulk Hogan and shit. But
of course,
he always got hella sweaty, and he always like would get bloody, and his hair would turn from blonde to blood colored, whatever you want to call that.
Man, when he had the feathered hair in the 80s, that's like probably my favorite era of Ric Flair. But I really appreciate old crazy man Ric Flair in the mid to late 90s. That's kind of when he had the sports, the coach dad cut, the short with the part. And he started throwing these like weird promos where he would just look like a crazy middle-aged man. And I remember one where he threw his jacket his suit jacket in the middle of the ring, and he just started giving it elbow drops. I was like, is this man having a midlife crisis? This is when he had a feud with Eric Bischoff, and he's just shooting hard on Eric Bischoff. And he's just like, he's giving the fucking jacket knee drops, elbow drops, and everybody else in his crew is just like, this shit is normal. And I remember watching this shit as a teenager, like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, dude. I mean, he would get into he was another guy who would get blasted on Blow, and he would just be wide-eyed, just fucking straight up amphetamine the fuck out, just ranting the fuck. You don't even know what he was saying. So,
Hogan, yeah. You got one more time. One more time. One more time.
He had the ultimate exclamation though, because all he had to do was be like, "Woo!" Like, oh, he could just do that in succession, and that was all the promo was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, hey, I wish I could reach that level where I could just be insane on camera and coked out, gacked the fuck out in a robe with feathered collars, but you know, goals. #goals.
Goals for gold, and that man has it. Was it 16 times champ?
Dude, here's another thing, Steve. I wish I would have called you last night. Me and my wife we're having her nephew over, and he's like a young kid. He's just gonna hang out with us for a while. Yeah. But he loves wrestling. And this kid, he was like, he wanted to quiz us, so he literally wrote down a quiz of like 15 questions. Just random questions about wrestling. And I got one of them right, Steve. I'm telling you right now. He was old school, like old, who was the first champ, who was in the first main event of the first WrestleMania, shit like that. Who won the first, like, there was one question about, like, I don't know if it was somebody designing a belt. Something like there was questions where I would defy you. Kendra wanted me to call you to see if you could get any of these things right. I was like, this kid's like a savant of fucking WWE. I have nothing for this kid.
My opportunity was almost there. I told people for years, all of this useless information that I have, one day I might be that phone a friend.
There you go, dude.
Like, okay, I can do something with this. And that day hasn't happened. So I decided to start a podcast.
Well, I'm telling you, this is gonna pay off at some point. We're gonna get something out of that, Steve. So hold on to it. But I'm useless. I got nothing. If it isn't about Razor Ramon or that kind of shit, it's like I'm not gonna produce an answer for you. So,
well, what's Kendra's nephew's name?
Poppy.
Poppy, hey Poppy, you met your match. Come try me anytime,
dude. I'm getting him to do another quiz, and I'm calling you. This ain't multiple choice, bitch. This is
no Google. No Google.
Yeah, stay off the internet. You got to answer these questions. So, TB, we'll see how good you got it, Steve. Poppy's got your number.
Hey, man, they better act like they know. I'm not new to this, Matthew. I'm true to this.
How did I make it big? I know how to play the game. I buy real estate, hotels, fancy cars, even railroads. And I take chances. To make it big, you've got to play the game. I'm Monopoly Game.
Hey, boys and girls, this is Stephen Cleophas Garrett and Matthew Tyrone Geddick with Happen in the 90s, a show where we talk about things that happened in the 90s. So get out your Jordache jeans and your Jordan cologne because you want to come to a podcast with Matthew and Stephen G. You want to come to Happen in the 90s. Yes, man. And today we're back in Boston talking about the bar, the guys and the gals at the bar. We're going to be talking about one of my favorite clowns. And I'm not talking about Homie, not talking about Bozo, not my ex-girlfriend. We're talking about Krusty. Hey, kids. Yeah, man. We're back in Springfield. We're back in Boston. What?
I didn't say anything, Steve. It was a great Krusty impression. You got it.
Yeah, man. A lot of things happen on April 29th, man. People retiring from the pitcher's mound. We got Krusty getting busted. We got Paul getting his funky off. We got LA riots. The LA riots happened, man. That's in your neck of the woods, Matthew.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't here for that, Steve, clearly, but it happened. Yeah. Krusty got busted and Paul got his dick wet. So it was a pretty eventful week for us.
DJ Paul sit on the wall. Yeah, man. So on April 29th, 1990, The Simpsons, they're in their first season and they're airing the episode Krusty Gets Busted. Homer witnesses a robbery at the Kwik-E-Mart where the culprit is a man dressed like Bart's hero, Krusty the Clown. But there's more than meets the eye.
Season 1 of The Simpsons, for some reason, all the episodes I remember a lot were in season 1. So it's pretty crazy that they did so well right at the beginning of this shit.
If not season 1, it's one of the earlier ones, man. For me, it's the peak is probably season 1 through 5, maybe 6, basically until Conan left. Now, the opening scene, these are my little Easter eggs. Bart, he's at the chalkboard, and the phrase is, "They are laughing at me, not with me." And then we go to the couch gag, and everybody sits on the couch. Maggie pops up in the sofa, and Marge catches her in the air. They're pretty simple around this time. They haven't gotten too complex, as they've gotten throughout the years, man.
It was still like the longer intro, too. They had some of those, animations in the beginning that weren't always there. They'd cut them out after a while.
Dude, Marge goes to the grocery store, to Sam's Club, to Sporting Goods. She drives on her way back home. She goes in reverse, gets her easy tag, and takes the toll. And I'm just like, man, the episode hasn't started yet.
Yeah, it's a little bit longer, but we get into it, and it starts with an episode of Krusty Show, and I gotta say, the vibe that he has with these kids.
Who do you love? How much do you love me?
With all our hearts.
What would you do if I went off the
air? We kill ourselves.
What the fuck was that?
So it's a real cultish thing we got going. Very weird.
And what would you do if we went off there? We'd kill ourselves.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird, dude.
So yeah, and some little girl in the audience, it's her birthday, and by her request, he shoots Sideshow Bob out of a cannon after filling it with a whole Bowling Green Bromfield blazing barrel of gunpowder, much to Sideshow Bob's chagrin. And it's kind of readily visible that Sideshow Bob's not really feeling his 9 to 5. It's apparent on his face.
Yeah, he's definitely physically and emotionally abused, and it's on camera for everybody to see. So yeah, obviously he's got a little bit of a grudge, which might come into play later.
Foreshadow.
But Krusty doesn't seem to, it is what it is.
Don't blame me. I didn't do it.
He's the main event, man. Maybe every once in a while, fucking Johnny shit on Ed, it happens.
And we're still in this raucous, Itchy and Scratchy era, and they're playing the episode Burning Love in this clip, and Itchy shoots a flaming arrow into Scratchy's ass. This was a real short one. And then after that, we find out Patty and Selma are going to stop by to show slides from their trip to Yucatan. Homer, he's at the Kwik-E-Mart, and we also see someone who appears to be Krusty the Clown, who's standing behind Homer in line. Homer accidentally steps on Krusty's clown shoes, and Krusty pulls out the pistol. That escalated quickly.
Yeah, damn. I mean, at least just say back up, bitch. But no, Krusty's pissed. He's got a gat, and Homer's not handling it too well, Steve.
And neither is Apu, but he's not new to this because he knows what to do. He knows the routine, and he gives him the money. The money's just waiting for him in the bag. And Krusty, he pulls off, got the bag. The bag is secured. Now, Meanwhile, the family's at home looking at Patty and Selma's ill-fitted FUPA film slides, and Homer, he gives a description to the responding officers, and he tells them that it was Krusty the Clown, his son's idol. And the cops bust into Krusty's house to arrest him for armed robbery. Yeah.
I wanted to see if you keyed in on this. Chief Wiggum is completely normal in this episode. He's not dumb at all.
Krusty the Clown, you're under arrest for armed robbery. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say, blah, blah, blah.
He seems to just be a normal cop. You know?
He hasn't fully devolved into the Wiggum that we all know at this point. Yeah. This is the first season, so they're still filling out for character.
Yeah.
You know? Now we come back to the Simpson household, and the kids ultimately find out via the news, and they even have surveillance of Krusty sticking up the place. And Homer says he was there. Y'all wasn't there. I was there. And Bart's whole world is just flips upside down, man. Everyone denounces Krusty. He's become somewhat of a pariah. The town is, they're denouncing him, and they end up having like a bonfire of sorts. Reverend Lovejoy is leading this whole procession, or this whole
Times Crook of the Year, Steve. Immediately. That's almost overnight they make that list. So, I mean, he's not doing well.
You know, this whole ordeal reminded me of when the R. Kelly shit first hit. I was a huge fan of R. Kelly, like a lot of people from my generation. And then the evidence, the surveillance came out, and it flipped my world, my R&B fan membership world upside down, man.
It's still to this day, Steve, I got to say, I use Spotify quite a bit, and there's still a couple of workout playlists that have some R. Kelly on it. And I just try to enjoy the music. That's all I'll say. I don't know what to do at this point. It's hard. See, this is more like, but I guess there was video of that too. So, but I'm just saying.
There was video.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to shut my mouth now. Let's keep going. Yeah.
We'll see, man. Now, Bart, he sees Krusty going into his pre-trial, and Krusty, he is able to get a hold of him, and then Krusty tells him that he didn't do it, and he begs his dad to not throw Krusty under the bus. Homer still points Krusty out from the stand.
I mean, what's he supposed to do though? I mean, the guy looks. I saw what I saw. You know what I mean?
I saw. Yeah,
it's on there. I saw the guy had a mask or whatever, but goddamn,
the eyes just like the ball don't lie. Word to Rasheed Wallace.
I'm not, dude. I'm not gonna perjure myself so that your favorite clown can get out of jail. Because honestly, looking at him, I'd be a little concerned about some of his extracurriculars anyway. But
I plead guilty, Your Honor. Oh, I mean, not guilty. Opening night jitters, Your Honor.
But didn't you feel this a little bit with the R. Kelly shit first hit, Matt? And it was like, man, there's a lot of motherfuckers who look like R. Kelly. It could be any bald brother with sideburns and a goatee. Like, I mean,
it's like that Chappelle skit. At the time, it was like, I mean, they can manufacture anything. I don't know. Maybe they CG'd it. I don't know. And then there was like 75, verified things and a few other things and a cult, and then it was like, but this fucking keeping on.
So we can relate.
So fucking good though.
Real talk. So we can relate to Bart. You know what I mean? It's like, damn, bro, you pissing on little girls. But Step in the Name of Love is so classic.
Yeah, real talk. I mean, I don't like Krusty the Clown that much, but at least in his defense, it was just a robbery. Like maybe the guy fucking has a gambling addiction, which knowing who Krusty the Clown is, he might have a gambling addiction. He's got a couple other addictions.
Yeah, I could see him being heavily involved with betting and whores. Now,
you just came right out and said it. I mean, you didn't even sugarcoat what it was.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at him. He looks like
without the makeup. I know it's weird to say, but for like a clown, but like without the makeup, he even looks more of a pederast. Like to me, a clown, I instantly think scumbag, pervert. something, but
true to life. I mean, Matt Groening, I feel like he has the DeLorean and he hasn't told anybody, Matt.
He definitely has like that Infinity Stone shit where he can like see in time or something. Some of these people do that shit, and it's like, how the fuck did you? Especially, Simpsons, all the things they've called 10 years before it, like Trump and shit, where it's, how the fuck? How'd you know?
Dude, I don't know if you've been able to tell, but I'm trying to wrap this episode into the R. Kelly, because I feel like he predicted this shit. Krusty the Clown is really R. Kelly, and I am Bart. We are Bart Simpson. And dude, the man...
You can apply it. I don't know if he specifically was like could have copped to this, but I applaud your examination of the episode in this way.
So far, you think this is a reach, but we'll get there, Matt. Trust me.
Hey, now I'm 30% there, Steve, and I still am fully in support of what you say. But in relation to the episode, I'm 30% in.
So we're in agreement that clowns are kind of like slummy, scummy kind of dudes. What do you do for $40? So like we get back to the Simpsons household, and all of the Krusty merchandise is thrown out of the Simpsons household. Krusty pins, Krusty toys, Krusty pacifiers, Krusty pussies, everything must go. And the town is having a Krusty bonfire led by Reverend Lovejoy. And they do their whole burning event or whatever, and then we go to the trial. And we find out that Krusty can't read or write. He's illiterate.
Which one do you mean?
The one with the big B on it. What's the matter? Can't you read?
No, I can't. I can't read or write. I admit it. I'm totally illiterate. Now, are you happy?
Like Robert Kelly.
Real talk. Oh my God. Wow. Weird. This is getting weird, Steve. Okay, I'm 50. I'm 50 there now. That's a 20% bump. I mean, I'm 60% there, Steve. That's a 30% bump for me.
Matt Groening be knowing things,
Jesus.
Bro. He be knowing stuff, man. And so R. Kelly is reportedly illiterate, and they find Krusty just like R. Kelly guilty. And
okay.
So we go back to the show, which is now Sideshow Bob's show. He's the new host, and he teaches kids about nutrition, self-esteem, etiquette, and all of the mindly arts. And Bart, he's not ready to let it go. He's dedicated to proving Krusty's innocence, and he needs little sis Lisa to join in on his mission. Hey, man, you need the little sis because it's Lisa. She's the exception to the rule. He even admits, you're smarter than me.
She's like a fucking Judy Blume. I mean, she goes in and does what a police force couldn't do at all.
Bart, look! Over here on the microwave.
So? I don't have a pacemaker.
Come on, Bart. The tape showed that the robber heated up a burrito.
So?
Don't you remember the get well card we sent to Krusty? It was after his heart attack, when he had a pacemaker put in.
Uh-huh.
Bart's a dim bulb. He wouldn't have figured this out on his own. I mean, even Maggie might have been able to help him out.
And now Lisa, she agrees to go along with them on this mission. And like when they get to the Kwik-E-Mart, Lisa, she does her own deductive, or however you say it, reasoning or logic. And she realizes, hey, Krusty can't read. And they remember the man in the video was reading a magazine.
But see, here's what I say to that, Steve. People can act before a robbery. I could pick up a magazine and just be looking at it and just then rob the place. It could just be an act. So that doesn't strike me as evidence. So I'm just saying, I'm trying to poke holes here. I'm a defense attorney, Steve.
All right.
Okay, so that's what I say right then and there. But she's right. He is illiterate, which is heartbreaking, but also hilarious.
Lisa starts to see the light, though. Unlike Matt, and Bart and Lisa, they decide to wait backstage for Sideshow Bob to get more intel, because Lisa's like, hey, why don't we ask someone who's close to Krusty what's going on? Did anyone have any beef with him? So instantly they think Sideshow Bob.
Well, here's the other thing, Steve, I think that you missed, because in the court appearance, they noticed that Krusty had small feet.
He had small feet, yeah.
So in the actual robbery, the perpetrator of the robbery, who we think is Krusty, had large feet that Homer stepped on, which caused the whole kerfuffle to happen in the first place. So they know that the actual robber had big feet, but Krusty has small feet. So ding, 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 ding. That's a red flag.
That's another
I'll give
flag.
her that. And that's one that you didn't mention. So I just wanted to throw that in.
Well, hey, that's why we're a team, sir.
Real talk.
Bart, like when they're at the show, Bart's not feeling it. Sideshow Bob notices this and calls him out. So he invites him to sit on the couch. And Bart is telling Sideshow that Krusty was framed. Sideshow tries to deter him, but Bart continues. And he's got big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. An inch increase.
And it resonates with him. And he just sits on it. And then all of a sudden it occurs to him like, you did it. He calls him out. Right there on the spot, live television.
Do you think, and could put yourself in Bart's situation, Steve, could you have done this on live television in this kid's situation? Because I would have pushed out. You got a big adult in front of you. You got to call him out for fucking robbery, conspiracy, Steve.
If Robert Kelly didn't do it, and if there was another brother out here who framed him and planned this strategically this whole time, and I was sitting in front of that man, of course I would try to set that man free. R. Kelly wrote I Believe I Can Fly, and I needed that song in my life in 8th grade. So yes, if that man is wrongfully convicted and he's been sitting in there just rotting wrongfully, hell yeah, I'm calling that man out on live television for the masses to see. He's been parodied, spoofed, ridiculed, but we don't know yet. But Matt Groening probably knows. He just won't tell us.
Real talk.
I mean, I can't even defend what you just said. I mean, I get it. Now, as an 8-year-old or whatever Bart is, I don't know if you've had the courage to do it, but I'm with you, Steve. If R. Kelly was, how do you know? Let's transition it back. What is the evidence you get that definitively shows you that R. Kelly was conspiratorially put to these rapes or whatever?
Time out. This is all hypothetical. You're not about to throw me in that bucket. I'm not saying the man is innocent. I'm saying if this same, because so far I've followed the parallels of Krusty and R. Kelly. We still don't know if Robert Kelly is guilty or what, but hey, to be real with you, I think he did it. I think he did all that shit.
Real talk.
Okay, I get it. But in this case, if you had some sort of definitive evidence in your mind as a child, you would be like, fuck you, guy, whoever that is.
Okay, let's take it even further. Bart is about 8, right? Okay. So I wasn't big on R. Kelly at 8 years old. My guy at that time was MC Hammer. So if it was MC Hammer and they were trying to lock him up, I would have took a bullet for MC Hammer at 8 years old. Oh my, I would have fought pit bulls in the face at 8 years old for MC Hammer.
Yeah, I'm with you, Steve.
Dude, are you serious?
Family soundtrack, Steve.
They do what they want to do, say what they want to say, live how they want to live, play how they want to play, dance how they want to dance, and they started playing.
I don't know what that last part is, but the Addams Family. Yeah.
Go. Yeah.
We know it. We both know it. I'm with you. Now that you've put it to MC Hammer, yeah, I'm fully in.
Yeah, Hammer don't hurt him.
75% agreeing with you that Matt Groening knew about this, but you still got to sell me. You got time. We got a little bit of episode left, so.
Well, only time will tell because I can't fully get you to that part because only Matt Groening knows, not Steve G or Matt Geddick. But so far, I mean, you know, they got him on surveillance doing his act. He can't read or write, and he's loved. He's got millions of fans.
I mean, but right away, Bart calls him out on TV.
Yeah.
Then all of the things that he points out, the cops see the show and they're like, "How did we not see this, guys? How the fuck did we not put this together?" They feel, I mean, again, Wiggum is actually kind of with it at this point. He's not half TikToked out. So, they are actually come and just fucking Bart does it. He does what you're saying you would do in the ideal situation. He exonerates his hero.
Protect your heroes.
Yeah. And Sideshow Bob goes to jail. This is where he starts getting his grudge against Bart, I believe, that continues to play out throughout The Simpsons. And this was the first time that he, like, Kelsey Grammer did the voice?
I am not certain. I mean, obviously it's one of the early ones because it's the first season, but this is definitely the genesis of the Bart and Sideshow Bob beef. And as the police are wrangling him up, he's like, yes, I hated him. His hackney shenanigans have robbed him of his dignity for years. Yes, I did it. I played the buffoon while he squandered a fortune of his vulgar appetites. And dude, we didn't even give the disclaimer that this is going to be another Kelsey Grammer-esque episode.
I am wounded.
Oh, I mean, and it should always be that. I wish we could always have a Kelsey Grammer heavy episode, but you're right. Disclaimer: if you like Kelsey Grammer, you're about to jizz yourself.
Fraser Crane. And you know the town is kissing his ass like, we fucked up, man. We wish we could unburn your shit, but we can't. So they're paying their respects and apologizing. And Krusty, he acknowledges that none of this would be possible if it wasn't for the one Bart Simpson. Springfield can now return to normalcy.
I mean, Bart's a hero. He should get, if Krusty was a millionaire, Bart should get heavily paid, but he does get dripped out in Krusty shit. So I guess, that's cool.
New drip for the season.
Yeah.
No.
Is this the van to Super Van City?
Sure is. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can get into town. Super Van City. Just fold it on down. Micro machines taking over the place. With real racing dragsters ready to race. Working bridges and an airport too. A car wash serving you. Super Van City. Micro machines.
The Micro Machines Super Van City. You put it together, fold it up, take it away. Vehicle pack sold separately.
On that same day when Bart was holding it down for his homie, the clown, Dan Quisenberry is announcing his retirement, the Hall of Fame relief pitcher for the Kansas City Royals. He was a World Series champion with them in 1985. At the time, he was the all-time AL save king with 238. And I'm pretty sure the guy from New York beat that at this point. Or at least closing. I don't know if there's a difference between saving and closing, but Matt, you talking about a mustache, man, this is 7. I can't get the full clip, but yeah, but his mustache is more respectable. This is a mustache like, man, I got shit to do. Like the Jeff Galooly dude from last week, that mustache says like, I don't have time to keep up with my character. I don't have time to keep up with my facial hair.
But I mean, okay, where do you put where do you put this? Am I in like a Magnum PI or am I
It's not Magnum because there's a beard connected. Tom Selleck never.
No, I get okay. Well, I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna do it to myself, and I'm sorry to my wife for making myself look like more of a pederast, but I'm gonna do that. And I gotta say, Steve, I did cut my hair, and I've received no fucking comment on that whatsoever.
I am wounded.
Very Jeff Galooly haircut, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a clean cut, man. You look like you go to Duke University.
I do. Thank you. I appreciate that. But you know what?
No problem, JJ Redick.
Can I tell you why I got my haircut finally? Like what the moment was? Yeah. I walked into my bedroom where my wife works out of. That's where her office is. And I said, I really don't want to get my hair cut because she keeps bringing it up. And she's like, you look like a rapist. And I said, wow, that's harsh.
Ooh.
That's harsh. And I go, that's not true. I don't look like a rapist. She Google imaged the word rapist. And literally a guy came up that looked like me. So
Oh,
it's a hard pill to swallow, and that's what made me get the haircut. So
you definitely don't want to give the appearance of a rapist of any variety. Whether you're
like
Diddler
a dictionary definition. This isn't like a guy she knew. This was Google image rapist, and it was a little too close for comfort, Steve.
It's time to make some changes. Word to Tupac. Some serious changes.
Yeah, well, I did. And I'm about to cut this mustache, and I'm about to look like homie over there behind your shoulder. But that looks like a Making the Murderer picture or some shit. I don't like this.
Because you're only getting a half face. But this is Making of a Murderer. Look at this fucking wind up. Look at this.
Oh,
look at that.
Arm. Whoa.
Yeah. And he was one of the best ever, man. Especially his time.
Like, how long was his career? I feel like his arm would be worn the fuck after a few years.
Dan Quisenberry.
He
played.
This motherfucker so white.
He's originally from Santa Monica, California, and he played from 1979 to 1990.
Good God. Well, apparently he didn't have any Tommy John's issues or whatever. I guess maybe it was the motion. That's wild, though. That looks like his arm's broken.
Well, you know, man, even looking from this angle, man, from this perspective, look at his command as far as like control of his body. And I joke with people as far as like, man, pitchers are some of the most out of shape motherfuckers, but obviously there takes some level of athleticism, and the best pitchers are the best for a reason, whether they had a strong rocket arm or they know how to maneuver the ball in a certain way or contort their body to give the best effect of what they're trying to accomplish, whether it's a strike or a strikeout, man. And this right here, I feel like this is something that you do in conditioning, like some kind of plyo exercise, like a ballerina. And it's been reported that some athletes, even football, they do a little ballet in the off season, man, to control their bodies. So shout out to Dan Quisenberry.
That guy straight up though, I guarantee you that was just a lifetime of throwing the ball that way. I remember playing baseball with guys that just, you know, there's a motion that you're taught when you as like a, you know, as a beginner, but there's some people that just can do it this way. And over a lifetime, I mean, that's crazy though. That looks like he's making some sort of crazy play at second. Like he caught the ball and he's trying to flip it someplace. It doesn't look like a pitcher's motion, you know, like a snapshot of that. Yeah,
you might be right. But even to pull that off in that angle, to have your body in such a diagonal way, man, you know, that takes some level of strength, whether it's your core or your shins. I don't know, man. But
shout out to Whitey Huckleberry or whatever the fuck his name was.
Well, Dan Quisenberry is no longer with us. He died in 1998.
God damn it, Steve. Don't say that after I fuck the guy's name up. Don't incriminate me like that. That's not cool.
Yeah, well,
you did that last week. You had me laughing, and then you fucking start laying on some heavy shit, and I look like a psycho.
And to be fair, I'll take some fault in that. Sometimes my delivery shouldn't be used in such a way in certain
it almost seems malicious. Like, I see you, Steve. I see you.
Yeah. All right. Very well. Now,
sorry.
On that same day when Bart Simpson was trying to get his buddy out of jail, when Dan Quisenberry announces his retirement, the Wrecking Canes begin tearing down the Berlin Wall. Well, bring down that wall at the Brandenburg Gate.
Okay, dude, I don't know what it is, but I have some kind of, you know, I can do some voices. But when we get into a podcast, I just can't make it come out. When I'm in the bright lights, I can't do it. I feel like I have a Ronald Reagan impersonation in me. I've done it, and I just can't do it right now, Steven. I'm heartbroken.
Well, mine isn't that extensive. It really doesn't go any further than a well. I remember that being used a lot by him, and it's just
and I think that was Dana Carvey's impersonation completely. Phil
Hartman.
What was his wife's name?
Nancy.
Well, Nancy and I, yeah, well, that's mine. That's all I got. So I feel like that was pretty good. I actually got it out there a little bit. So I just wanted you to know my hidden shame that in the bright lights, some of these, I feel like I can go blow for blow with you on impersonations, but it's just not indicative in this podcast. So I'm going to work.
Hey, man, maybe that'll be a Patreon.
I challenge you, Steve.
Yeah, I've heard some things. Yeah.
Dude, Steve, can I share a funny story about impersonations? Just real sidetrack Sally quickly.
Yeah.
We went to like we used to show sketch comedy videos at this comedy club in LA a long time ago, but we went to a show through that was an improv show where they showed comedy videos with it. And improv is kind of brutal to watch sometimes, so it was weird. But one of the improvs was just a guy who did impersonations, but were they vocal impersonations? No. They were only facial impersonations.
Yeah.
And it was weird.
Were they good?
The De Niro, no, they weren't good. De Niro, he did the thing, like there's a De Niro face. Yeah, kind of that. But you're doing as good of an impersonation as this guy did. And
I don't get paid for it.
Sidetrack Sally. I'm sorry.
It's pretty recognizable. I've been working on my Al Roker lately too. Want to hear it?
Yeah.
What's the weather in your
hood? Pull it back, Steve. You got to pull it back.
No, okay. I'll practice on that one. Now, in 1992, on April 29th, in Simi Valley, California, a jury acquits for 4 LAPD police officers accused of excessive force in the videotape beating of black motorist Rodney King, causing the 1992 Los Angeles riots and leading to 53 deaths and $1 billion in damage.
I mean, I've seen documentaries about it. Obviously, I was not here for that. But the places that they say it happened and just to see what it was, that's fucking nuts, dude.
That's real life, bro.
Yeah.
This is real life, man.
That shit was wild. I just remember just seeing the LAPD, like that footage that came out. Like that was sort of that first video. I mean, now it's so fucking sad that that's basically every news shit is some black guy getting his ass whooped or killed on the news. But this was like the first time that the nation you had to see it. You watched them do that to that dude. And yeah. I mean, they fucking did. LAPD was just that. I remember in the 90s, it was like every story coming out of LAPD was just them brutally whooping the ass of some minority guy, whoever it was. You know, that was their reputation. I mean, to this day, that's just like one of the most corrupt police forces of all time. And then this happened.
It's been like that even before our parents were born, Matt. They've had this reputation for a long time, man.
Yeah.
And in all seriousness, man, I know we joke and everything, but maybe our show could be used as a reminder because, you know, it's like if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And the very focus of our show is history. And we talk about things like this, man, and we still see what happened last summer. And, you know, if the system doesn't get right or corrects itself, I mean, people are just going to continue to be frustrated. So this was nothing new back then. It's definitely nothing new now, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was saying before. It's just sad that, you know, then it was like, holy fuck. For somebody like me, who was just some white kid in the middle of, you know, Ohio seeing this shit, it was like, holy, those are cops doing that. So, you know, as a kid, that kind of like opened your eyes a little bit. But now it's over the decades that we've lived through, same shit. You know, it's like that's just every day now.
Yeah.
Just fucking crazy.
It's like we've in a way, I can't even say we've become desensitized to it because it's been going on, man. And I mean, there's still people pro clutching, man, that don't want to see the image of our country, man, held up in a mirror. They refuse to look at the reflection.
It's because they don't have any. It's like they don't have any answers, so they don't want to face the reality that you do have to make some kind of change. They're just. It's like You ever talk to somebody old that's like, you don't want to, maybe it's like a grandparent or something, and you bring up something that's like something honest that you want to like talk to them about, like maybe something they did to you or just something, and they just try to like brush it off. It's like, there's no use talking about it. We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk. It's just because they don't want to like emotionally face whatever you're bringing to them. And I think that's usually like the shitty reality of our situation now, is that for people like you and me, we're just normal people. Like I feel like my opinion doesn't mean a shit ton just because I can't move the needle. But like for politicians and stuff, it's like, dude, I'm fucking stoned. I just lost my fucking train of thought here. God damn it. I actually had something good to say, but it's just like, God damn. Sorry, Steve. I lost it.
Well, I mean, look at these dudes, man. All four of them were acquitted. And just looking at the mugshot, sometimes a picture says everything. Fuck 1,000 words, 1,000,000 words. It says everything. And these motherfuckers look like they eat, sleep, and shit the N-word. I see it on their fucking lips. Look at this fucking cocksucker. Look at this motherfucker.
I'm looking at that guy on the far left with the shaved head. It's like, yeah, dude. I just don't, it's one of those things where you'd think with the internet, my thought when the internet was like getting started was, like a lot of, you're going to like, we're all seeing everything now. So maybe that will lead to a, wider understanding of shit. And it just hasn't happened. It's like, we see this shit every day. You'd think now you have to make something happen, because you're not only seeing like what's in your small little world.
People are choosing what they want to see. There's a lot of that. People are playing dumb. And when you're playing dumb, there's really nothing anyone can do.
Well, and I just thought about what I was getting into earlier. The fact that people, there's this inclination when you don't have an answer and you don't want to emotionally face something, to not even like beg the question or have the discussion, because you're worried about the process to fix it. And I think that's where we're stuck now, whether it's you or me or the cops or the politicians. Nobody wants to just sit down and be like, this is really the reality, and we all need to face this. We need all, like, whatever the blame is to who and what, this problem needs to get fixed. And nobody wants to just sit down and say that and face the immense task of fixing the system. Because like, for me, that's what I'm saying. I'm not smart enough to have a real idea of how to fix it. All I can tell you is I want, and I think it needs to be fixed 100%. So it's just one of those things. How do you get the real people that can do that to sit down and fix it and do, because it is an immense task. Nobody wants to take responsibility for it, or say these are the people that did this. These are the people to blame. This is how we fix it. These are the steps we got to take. This is going to take decades, maybe on decades. Who knows how long it's going to take, but these are the first steps.
And accountability is the first step, man. Just like with the Derek Chauvin shit, you like to think that that's a change because, okay, this man not only lost his job, but now he's going to jail.
It was just too obvious, though. In this case, they couldn't do anything but that. In this climate, if they would have done anything but, there would have been a lot, like, it had to have been on the minds of everybody that the cops were testifying against other cops and shit. Like, there had to be something where they were going, if we don't fucking put this guy away, something's going to happen. Like, this nation could definitely, we could we could really go back, back to those days where there were riots every weekend and shit. We could get back to that. So, that had to be in their thought process. And to me, it's not indicative of a change. It's just indicative that in this specific situation, there was so much evidence that everyone in the world saw that they were forced to do that.
Yeah. And people had time, man. People were laid off. It was the pandemic. So it was like a perfect storm.
Yeah. Now, if it happens when everything normalizes and there's less eyes on the TV, because we were all just sitting there watching it, would it happen exactly the same way? Time will tell. Is this really change that they're going to hold people accountable when this shit happens? I mean, the other people involved in it, the other cops are going to get tried on this shit too. So I think that's going to be another case where we're going to see, because they need to be fucking put away too.
No doubt, man.
You know, I mean, if you're part of a murder in general, you get put away. They sat there and watched a guy murder somebody on camera and didn't do jack shit about it. So in my mind, they need to go away for maybe not as long as that dude, but a significant fucking period of time.
General Pop, and put it on C-SPAN.
Yeah. And also you got to factor in too that those people are directly responsible for mass hysteria. So you got to plug that in. If those people aren't responsible for murder, plug that in and plug terrorism or whatever you want onto it so they get fucked into doing 20 years because they deserve that shit too. Fuck them.
All of that.
It was quiet, except for the cows. Then a rock fell from the sky, so I sat on it. But it was really a spaceship. Then aliens surrounded me, and I could actually read their minds. Should we fry them or boil them? Whoa! So I pushed a button and made them disintegrate. Okay, so I made it up. Then I made it all happen.
Mario Paint. Draw and make music. Only on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Now, on April 29th, 1993, Cheers, they're in their last season, and they're airing the episode It's Lonely on the Top. Carla takes over as bartender when Woody takes his position as city councilman. And we start the scene off with Woody and his wife, Kelly, who are expecting, walk into the bar with a bag of baby shit they bought at the store. And they even bought a baby toy for Woody, too.
Yeah, when I started watching this, I was like, damn, Woody's got a wife. And I thought they were making fun of him, like making a joke. Oh, yeah, you're a city councilman because he's an idiot. But no, he's a fucking city councilman. So I bad Woody. I fucking misunderstood that and, really put some shade on your name. But yeah, this guy's living the life. This fucking barman fucking really got his shit together. That's crazy.
He's Billy Ho, man.
Yeah, I don't know why I fucking underestimated him. You're right.
He can jump. And Sam knows that he's going to have to replace Woody. He tells him that it's going to be hard to do so. And as he's running currently for city councilman, and Woody still wants to possibly bartend part-time. And he's like, what all does the city councilman have to do anyways? And Cliff replies, well, present councilman Kevin Fogarty rises at dawn, 6:30 exact. Then he showers, shaves, goes downstairs for breakfast with his wife, Estelle. Then he takes his son, Joseph, 8, and Hillary, 11, to the Fenwick Elementary School. At least that was his routine before the court order deprived me of my right to know. Fucking Cliff, man.
I don't know is he like a Rain Man, watching these, he's always, some of them, it's like he's Rain Man for shit that's not real. Like he's a dumb Rain Man, he's got fake facts. He's got all this shit. Maybe he knows this. Maybe because he delivers mail, he just sees this guy all the time. I don't know.
Cliff essentially is a loser, Matt. And that's
sorry, Cliff. Clavin. Steve's just breaking it down like that. So
that's the appeal. He's the lovable loser. He still lives with his mom. He's in his he's middle-aged. He doesn't really bring chicks around. And when he talks about them, they're kind of fabricated stories and probably completely made up. And so at this point, we're in the last season, man, and people have already accepted like, okay, this is this guy. This is like, and the thing that he just said of how he's kind of stalking the current councilman, he's like, it's so in character. It fits the guy that has evolved or devolved this whole 11 year span, man.
Well, he is a lovable loser. But one thing I took a note of right off the bat, Steve, I wanted to run by you is that we explained earlier that this is going to be a heavy Kelsey Grammer episode, and Frasier's in this bar. He, and my note was the following: he looks like he owns a yacht that's used for porn shoots. So he's got like the weird Abe Lincoln beard, which I don't like on Frasier. You said in the previous episode you like the more grizzled version of Frasier, but
I think the world does, except you.
I just don't. There's more that I'm going to go into about this bar. I just feel bad for the patrons of this bar, and at this point, Frasier is just looking disheveled. So I just wanted to point that out.
Hey, man. Well, when he's not selling yachts for dirty debutantes.
We're gonna be out on open ocean, right? Right? Anything can happen out there. No laws, right, boy?
He's at the bar with the guys at the bar, and Sam is going to put an ad in the newspaper for a new bartender, and Norm's ready to apply, and Carla volunteers her services as Woody's replacement.
You cannot, Sam. Do not hire Norm for this job. You will be out of business within a week. This guy's going to just drink all the product.
And just like he used to do on a pitcher's mound, Sam balked at the idea. Your Long Island iced teas are too long. Your redheaded sluts are too slutty. Your old fashions are too new. Your sake bombs explode, and you put cocaine in the Jack and Cokes. Come on, Carla. Nah. And then he's deciding, fuck it, I give you the job. But Rebecca steps in, and she's like, oh, I'm the manager. I'm the boss, bitch. I mean, look at my Dick Tracy jacket. Hello. I'll make the decisions. Thank you. And then Carla's just like, well, in that case, how about I just rip out your still beating art and show it to you before you hit the ground? And so ultimately, Carla gets the assistant bartender position.
But what does she do immediately, Steve? She gets the job, and the split second after she receives this job, she starts making fucking redheaded sluts.
Maple cocktails.
God damn. And then she doesn't learn the lesson. I mean, as far as an employer, I'd be pissed. But I mean, as far as being Norm or one of these fucking suds hounds, I'd be thrilled because they're getting fucking wasted.
Yeah, I mean, it's celebratory. She just got the new position, and we're going to find out she's going to get a couple more positions later in this episode. And they're getting lit at the bar, and we cut to the next day. Norm walks in hungover, and so does Frasier, who feels like he's dead.
But Steve, let's stop. Let's rewind what you just said right now, because this is another note I took. These people are walking into a bar in the morning, Steve. This ain't a Bob Evans. This is a fucking bar. And this isn't like, oh man, this guy's got a problem. This guy, they're walking into a bar to drink in the morning. Do they not have jobs? Do they not have a life? What is going on?
Well, Frasier, he even mentions, he's like, man, I'm hungover and I'm coming back to this bar that I just left like 7 hours ago. I think I might have a problem. I'm pretty sure he said something like that.
I mean, that's fucking crazy, dude. These people this is where weed comes in. You don't need to be fucking drinking in the morning. Have some eggs. Have a coffee. Don't go and have a fucking whatever Carl is making, because goddamn, everyone's coming in here looking like they just did every drug last night. Yeah, look. Yeah. His head's about to explode.
Norm can't even accept his normal, hi, Norm, greeting, man.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, as somebody who's going to Cheers, love it. Yeah. I'm going out on a Friday and I want to get fucking plastered. Cool. But this is apparently these are, I don't know what, is she just giving out liquor bottles? Because I don't know. Everyone's coming in hot.
Yeah. Norm's trash, Frasier's trash, and Cliff calls into the bar and doesn't know where he is. Sam tells him to look around and describe what he sees. And he realizes that Cliff is in the office of the bar. Out comes Cliff looking like he either fought off 50 pit bulls on a mail route or got fucked by 50 pit bulls on a mail route. And Woody walks into the bar totally unfazed by the maple cocktail. And his secret, putting on his pajamas, then taking an aspirin with a glass of cold water, then you vomit till your nose bleeds and heave until you see the angels.
I mean, Billy Hove, dude. It works.
It works.
You got him to LA, dude.
And then in comes Carla, looking like an unlocked character on Mortal Kombat, whose special power is making penises go soft. And she paces in frantically. She pulls Sam into the office to talk about something that clearly doesn't sit well with her. And it's actually the worst thing that happened to her in her whole life. And she tells Sam that she got a little too full of those maple cocktails and she went home with a guy. And it was a Cheers guy.
But she don't know which guy it was, Steve.
But she wants it to be Sam. She's like, Sam, please tell me it was you. He assures her it wasn't him. And all she remembers is slow dancing to Nat King Cole and doing it until the sheets burn. Sheesh.
This woman, Steve, would you hit it? Would you hit it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Sidetrack Sally. Sorry, I just wanted to know.
And they go down the lineup. There's Frasier, which she could have lived with. It's Frasier Crane.
Even
And
as the yachtsman, even the yachtman Frasier, she could have lived with.
Yeah, selling yachts to big booty series. And there was Norm, and she says it couldn't have been him. And even if she was drunk, she would remember that shit. There was Woody, and they both say no. And before Sam even says Cliff, Carla says there was nobody else, Sam. And Sam suggests she just go out and ask the guys in a subtle way what they remembered from the night. But before that, Carla turns around and asks Sam if he thinks any less of her. And Sam says, well, let's just see what is first. That part got me. He's just like, yeah, it depends. We got to find. I need more info.
Right, let's wait and talk about that.
Yeah. And so she approaches Frasier about the night. He says Lilith was rescuing him from drowning in his toilet. And then she approaches Norm about the night, and he doesn't remember a single thing that happened that night, but his wife Vera made him breakfast in bed and kept calling him Mr. 2 times.
Damn, dude.
She approaches Woody about the night, and he says he spent most of the night listening to Phil tell stories about working on the Manhattan Project. And a little Easter egg, the man sitting next to Phil in the middle is the late, great Brandon Tartikoff.
Oh, okay.
Who was the president of NBC at the time and responsible for turning the tide completely for the network in the 80s. And Carla says, well, that's everybody. And before Sam could even point at Cliff, Carla says, that's everybody, Sam. So Carla approaches Cliff about the night, and he says, like, you know anything about it? Cliff is just like, you ought to know, Carla. It was FUN fun. And apparently he spent the night in the back of a cab with his drinking partner, Norm Peterson. That Cliff, he's a pal of a pal, man.
They're best buddies, dude.
Apparently, man. And also slutty tattoo buddies. And
yeah, I was going to say, yeah. But here's the thing, Steve. When they're, well, I think I'm jumping ahead of myself. We do find out that they got a shared tattoo, but it's like when they first were saying it, I was like, did these guys like hook up in the back of the cab? Because they're like, wait, what's that? You know, they just don't know what they did. And it's almost, makes it seem like Norm and Cliff might have been making out a little bit in the back of that cab, dude.
Well, the show has different instances of this where they're a little too close of friends, and even they kind of feel awkward about it. Like, whoa.
You wouldn't get matching ass tattoos, Steve?
No, I don't want to get any tattoo of anything on my ass. Love you though, buddy. So now Carla is thinking maybe she met someone that night and it was Mr. Right. She's putting all of her eggs in that basket, that the man that was all in her eggs was this charming, fascinating, debonair man about town. And then walks in Paul.
Dude, Paul's walking in with the biggest dick energy of all time, dude.
What is that, baby arm you got there? Is that a Pringles can?
Limping in, like feeling all good and shit.
He's got a Pringles can down there,
dude.
And not the travel packs.
Would probably surprise you with a fucking bat, dude.
You got a Louisville Slugger, don't you?
I mean, he's
and then instantly.
Steve, he definitely is feeling himself. So it's obvious, you know, we
put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. And he can't wait to spill the beans. He's like, hey, guess who scaled Mount Polly last night? And before he does anything, Sam pulls him to the back, and this motherfucker's fixing his hair. He's really feeling himself. And he's like, you should see all the nail marks that are running down her back.
But dude, Paul, I didn't even catch that. It's like, dude, Paul, chill, dude. Like you don't go out as you and go just be like every time just flaming these chicks.
He's a beast, man. Yeah, man. But Sam talks him out of it. He's like, hey, man, Carla is really like feeling a certain way about this. She works here, so you know she'd prefer if you don't put her business out there like that. And she promises she won't tell if you won't tell. And he's just like, all right, man. And he's just like, but dude, can I at least get my gloats out? Can I just feel myself a little bit while I'm back here? And he's just going to town, and he's just, you know, rah-rahing and cheering himself up, smelling his own drip.
But it's all for nothing anyway, because we realize after this that he don't even want to get in a relationship. He's like, I don't want to hit it again. It was just a one-time thing. I'm Paul.
He don't need.
I need.
He don't need. Yeah, he don't need clinky vibes.
So I mean, that's wild, dude. But like I said, Paul's probably just packing some dork that you just, when he unfurls that thing, it's, you know, that's how he got it in Carla anyway. It's just like the Pied Piper, which I shouldn't even said that because we've been talking about R. Kelly the whole episode, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Jeez. And then we find out that Cliff and Norm, they don't even remember what they did in the cab. And through searching through their pockets, they see this receipt from the tattoo parlor. And they realize that they got butt tattoos.
And here's the thing, Steve. It's not even embarrassing enough that they got tattoos at the same time on their ass. But the tattoo artist or they themselves mixed up the request. So yeah. The tattoo on Cliff's butt is actually for Norm's wife and says, I love Vera.
I love Vera.
And then the tattoo on Norm's butt is an American flag. And it says, God bless the United States Postal Service. So right away, I mean, again, questionable decision. They're getting these tattoos anyway, but that's got to be the ultimate just fuck you of life just to find that out. Because goddamn. It was a cheap tattoo too, because the receipt was for like $200, and I feel like that means 2 tats for $200. Is that? I've never had a tat, so I don't know, but that seems kind of like cheap.
For butt tattoos, I don't know. This was in the early 90s. I don't know. Maybe inflation.
I don't know.
Now, Carla is in the back office with Sam. She doesn't know what to do with herself, and she's acting like it's the end of the world. Sam tells her, like, look, he's not as perfect as she thinks he is, and he's got a secret he wants to share with her. So he pops his top and shows he's been wearing a hairpiece.
Dude, this was wild, though, Steve. Sam's got a rug, dude. Fucking the Marlboro Man's got a fucking rug.
Watch this.
Pull up to the scene with the ceiling missing. Yeah. Middle fingers up to my competition.
Dude, Steve, also, don't call it a rug, bitch. This is a hair replacement system. Because if you start saying rug or toupee, Sam's going to get all up in that ass.
Yeah, getting his feels. And, you know, she didn't expect him to actually pop his top like that. This was a genuine reaction, a real life. Like, she knew that Ted Danson had some hair issues he was kind of insecure about, but she didn't know that this was ad-libbed.
Really?
So yeah, this was a real shock. From real
hilarious. Well, I mean, fuck, I didn't know that, but I just thought she was a good actress. But damn, that's hilarious.
She is. Oh yeah. And you know, ultimately, you know, they have a kindling, and you know, she gives Sam his flowers. Like, man, you're a real friend for protecting my reputation, protecting how I'm looked at, and basically taking care of my business, helping me take care of my business.
And Sam has to tell her that's cool, and it's also cool that you gargled Paul's balls. I'm not going to tell anybody. So
I could win $10,000.
Now you can win $10,000 playing Spell It, the new telephone spelling bee.
Call this number on a touch-tone phone, listen and spell 21 words correctly in 2 minutes or less, and you win $300 instantly.
It's easy and fun to play. Spell the word money.
M-O-N-E-Y.
That's right.
I won $300.
Grand prize, $10,000. Call 1-900-SPELL-77. $2.99 a minute, average call 5 minutes.
On April 29, 1995, the final TV broadcast of Empty Nest is on NBC. And I feel like I've watched a handful of episodes of this show solely because it was so closely paired to Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And I fucks with the Golden Girls.
I remember this show. There was like this. There's a couple of shows people don't remember from the 90s. This. And then there was another show called Dear John.
Dear John, oh my God, with the guy from Taxi, Judd Hirsch.
Yeah,
that song. Right
Dear
on.
John.
For whatever, I barely watched that show, but that
The
song will stay.
Dude. Life was always said and done, dear John. See, the fact you remember it makes me feel better because I've remembered that show forever, and when I bring it up to anybody else, they don't remember it. So
That's
at least I know
do.
I'm not fucking crazy, dude.
I'm a healer, Matt.
Thank you.
Welcome, bitch.
Empty Nest, though, I don't remember. I just obviously was about a guy who's like, everybody's leaving his house and he lives, it's like a guy in a retirement age dude, but that's all I remember. Yeah. And there was a dog, I believe. There was like some kind of a nice dog that was involved in this, but
I remember the dog. And I think there was a crossover. It's actually a spinoff from Golden Girls because the main guy, he was dating Dorothy, I believe, B. Arthur's character. And they just did kind of one of those crossover episodes and that kind of spiraled into its own thing, man.
Oh, okay.
And so, but on that same day when Empty Nest is airing its final episode, Tupac Shakur marries Keisha Morris inside the Clinton Correctional Facility in New York. Shakur was serving a 4.5-year jail term on sexual assault charges, and they would later, of course, divorce throughout that time. But yeah, man, he got married in jail and dropped a multi-platinum album in jail. Maybe he inspired a lot of people from that generation. Man, maybe if I go to jail, I'll be successful. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to put that on Tupac, man. Rest your soul. River. Now, on that same day, Tyson, the biopic on Mike Tyson starring Michael Jai White, premieres on HBO. And I remember watching that when it came on, man. And I've always been a Mike Tyson fan. And this introduced me to Michael Jai White. And I ended up becoming a Michael Jai White fan. He ended up becoming Spawn and Black Dynamite and just the ultimate badass.
Dude, Michael Jai, can I just say this? Because I am a huge proponent of Michael Jai White. He is one of the greatest action stars that has never become hugely famous. That's a sin that he hasn't become hugely famous. He's a legit martial artist. He's a badass. And he has like comedic timing on top of it. He was one of the first comic book stars. They made a Spawn movie. You can say what you will about it, but he was good in the fucking movie.
I watched it in theaters. I liked it.
Yeah. Oh, I did too. John Leguizamo as the clown. And shit. I mean,
he did a great job.
It was just like the CG at the time wasn't where, I mean, if you watch it now, it just looks crazy. But again, he was dope in that. He was also in the Universal Soldier. He was like the next Universal Soldier after Dolph Lundgren and shit in that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. And if you watch that movie, dude, and you want to see a dude that's like as yoked as possible, him in that, it's insane. And he looks like a robot, but he is amazing. He's a badass, and watch Black Dynamite because it's one of the funniest and best movies that you've never heard of.
In Black Dynamite and Tyson, the biopic, are both
Tyson,
on HBO.
Dude, it's crazy.
Yeah,
there's a reason why I gave him a name.
They're both on HBO Max. So yeah, man. I'm sure he probably has other things on HBO Max.
Dude, he has like, he's one of those guys that has like Steven Seagal movies too, where he has like lower budget movies that he's in that they're good. You just never heard of them, so check them out.
Now, in 1996, on April 29th, TV Land, an offshoot of Nickelodeon's late night block, Nick at Night, debuts. The channel was devoted to round-the-clock broadcasts of classic television shows. And man, when it dropped, I fell in love instantly because they played the shit that was before me. And like me being the TV nerd I am, I grew up watching a lot of that shit with my grandma. And when they made this a thing 24/7, because I would watch Nickelodeon during the day, and at night I would watch some of those old sitcoms, man. So when TV Land came out, they played White Shadow, and it was a dope show before our time. And it was from the 70s going into the 80s, man. And it was about this retired basketball player. He left the NBA from an injury, and he ends up going to Chicago. some urban impoverished high school, and he becomes a coach. And the show is essentially about his relationship with his players. But that was just one of the many great shows that TV Land would air. But now it's basically become the George Lopez show. And they don't show things from that time. I feel like they don't go any further.
Yeah, it's kind of like didn't they start generating new shows though, like new content, like Hot in Cleveland and shit like that?
Yeah, that too. They made room for their own original content, which I actually heard the Hot in Cleveland was good, but I'd prefer you playing the old shit.
Dude, I mean, I watched it. I'm not like you. I don't like watching old TV that much. I mean, some things you just watched a lot. Like, I feel like the old TV I liked a lot was on Nickelodeon for kids when we were really little, when they would play like black and white Dennis the Menace and Flipper episodes and shit. But one thing specifically I watched on TV Land all the time was Mama's Family, because me and my grandma used to watch that, and I used to love that show when I was a little kid.
Yeah, that was the shit, man. Shout out to Carol Burnett, man.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Now, in 1999, the pilot episode of WWF SmackDown is broadcast on UPN as a single television special.
I mean, this was huge. It was wild that to remember that most of our wrestling that we watched, like at least for us, like when I was watching it, was mostly on Mondays, and that was all you got. And if it was two things, you got WCW and WWF at the same fucking time. And then didn't WCW have a Thursday show too?
They did.
Remembering it.
Yeah, they had that before SmackDown arrived. And Vince being the ever competitive spirit, he's like, well, if they got a Thursday show, we need a Thursday show.
Hell yeah.
So lo and behold, SmackDown, man, which now airs on Fox Network on Friday nights. And I don't know who the fuck is watching anything on TV on a Friday night. Who even watches TV at all these days, man?
I will say I got to go to the premiere taping of the first show they did for Fox in the Staples Center. We knew somebody that got just worked at the event, so we got primo seats. And we actually took our nephew, who's here right now, back in the day. But dude, they had The Rock was there, Hulk Hogan, because it was the first one that was on Fox, so they had a big event. And
I remember watching it.
It was so dope. Like Shane McMahon did a fucking crazy ladder match thing and did a bunch of crazy stunts and killed a fucking announcer table and shit off the top rope. It was fucking cool. I haven't watched it in a while, but yeah, it was wild. I do remember when this came out, it was like, more wrestling. Fuck yeah. Fuck yes.
They still need to improve on their current product though, man. I don't know. I wouldn't touch that shit with a 10-foot pole. But do you have any takeaways, honorable mentions, calls of action, young Matthew?
I mean, I just want to shout out to Paul for just getting that pussy. That's really all I got, Steve. I'm thrilled. I always like to see an ugly man get laid, because for so long in my life, I was a fat man that had to just scramble for any scrap of pussy I could get. So I fully sympathize with Paul just feeling himself. He gets some, and I mean, keep doing it, Paul. I bet you take that Pringle dick and fucking just lay some pipe, dude.
Wow. I mean, hey, it gives us hope.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a handsome man now, but I'm just saying from my past, I know exactly where Paul's at, and I support it. And I just hope more for him. More for him, Paul.
Now, on April 29th, 1991, Blossom is airing the episode Love Stinks, and she gets her heart broken from her love interest, or her boyfriend, who was a college student while Blossom is still in high school. And the guy who plays her boyfriend is the same guy who played Jesse Spano's brother in Saved by the Bell. He was the guy who was the dick that, he was going on a date with Lisa, and they end up crashing a car on the date. So he was a dick in Blossom, and he was a dick in Saved by the Bell. You're talking about typecast. In 1992, on April 29th, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is airing the episode Just Fatuation, and it's Ashley Banks' birthday, and she is surprised by her idol, played by Tevin Campbell. And this, I remember all of the episodes of Fresh Prince, but I was envious of Tevin Campbell because he gave her a kiss in the episode, and I wanted to be that person to give Ashley Banks a kiss. Now,
aww, Steve, that's sweet. That's adorable. But could you stand up to a Tevin Campbell level of do you think you could kiss as good as Tevin Campbell, Steve?
Better than Tevin. He apparently likes guys. So, I mean, I think I got him beat if we were going into competition for Ashley Banks' love interest. But
allegedly, Steve, just throwing it out legally. Allegedly, he's into that, and also allegedly, you are the makeout king, and you could have gotten Ashley Banks at that time. So I believe in you, Steve, and I think it's adorable what you just said. So I'm gonna cut that out and give that to the world in some way.
Tatiana Ali, if you ever watch this, look, I know you watching, Tatiana.
Hi, Tatiana. So I'm just gonna vouch for Steve, Tatiana. He's a great guy. So, I mean.
So, man, what are we going to be talking about with Ain't Life Funny? Like, are we on hiatus? What?
We're on hiatus. We did release an episode yesterday, Monday of this week, just like a little quick one where we did have a little quick discussion just about the show in general. And we're just taking a quick break because I kind of talked about it a little bit today. We are going to start a business, and that just takes a lot of planning. And instead of doing a podcast and being on separate coasts, we're going to just take some time and get a business started and get that going. And, I'm sure we'll start doing podcasts again at some point. So keep an eye on the page, subscribe to it so you get an alert when we do release a new episode. And that'll probably be, in the next few months. But what's going on Over the Culture, my man?
Oh, well, shit, just our last episode, man, I covered the album The Infamous by Mobb Deep, man. It was their second studio album that was released on April 25th, 1995. And so I go into a deep dive with that. And I also talk about Shock G, the passing of the legendary Humpty Hump. So they're both from an underground hip hop world, no pun intended, but that was the gist of it, man. For this upcoming week, man, I don't know, man. I haven't told anybody but my girlfriend that I had for about 3 months. She just dumped me over the weekend, man.
Oh, so, damn, dude.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. But like, it's after that, this week, I think the next logical step, Matt, is probably going to smoke crack.
Okay. Well, I'm going to advise against. Maybe a high-powered weed, even if you can get your hands on that. That's not going to do any damage, but I get it. I'm sorry to hear that, but I mean, that's her loss, Steve.
Chuck, it totally is.
That's her loss.
Oh, it totally is. Yeah. So you don't think I should freebase crack cocaine?
I mean, I just haven't heard a lot of great stories, but you might be the one, man. You're a strong guy. So, I mean, maybe one dose of crack, it's not going to kill you. But I would advise, I'd say, get an edible, get a high powered weed, maybe roll a blunt, just start there and just see where the night takes you,
Matt, you talked me off the ledge. See there, boys and girls, here it happened in the 90s. We change lives. We save lives. My buddy, he prevented me from smoking crack for the first time. Now, please like, share, subscribe, all of our social media. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook. We are on Twitter. We are at your mama's house. This is Steve G, Matt G. It happened in the 90s.